2025. Of course, my name is Alexis Jeffers, and it is always my pleasure being here on a Friday afternoon. And this afternoon, I'm here to spend my lunch hour with you as usual. And of course, we'll see how many things we get imparted here this afternoon. I want to start by, extending greetings to all who are listening to Von Radio at this point in time, all of the various parishes here in Nevis, and of course down in St. Kitts, where we do have a large following as well. And going further afield, let's say Sabre, Statia, St. Bart's, French and Dutch St. Martin, and all of my family members who are down there listening, I say good afternoon to you there in St. Martin. And of course, US and British Virgin Islands. And while I'm in the Virgin Islands, let me say hello to my friend there in St. Croix, Henry Cole. He normally listens as well. And of course, anyone else who are there listening, I say good afternoon to you. And moving into Puerto Rico, we do have quite a number of national citizens there in Puerto Rico. And even though it's a Spanish-speaking territory, persons have left here in the past, long years ago. Even my mom would have gone there and lived there for some time and learned the language. Yeah. So good afternoon to you there in Puerto Rico. Of course, up in the United States, we're stretching from the eastern seaboard all the way up in the northeast, New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont, and those states, those smaller states up there in the northeast, down into South Florida and into the Midwest, Oklahoma, Texas, and Missouri, and those states. And of course, we do have our nationals there, and into the western flank of the United States, California, Oregon, and Washington State. Of course, I normally don't even mention Alaska, but we have persons in Alaska, I'm sure, and Hawaii. Those are not a part of the actual physical mainland, but they are also part of the 50 United States, So we go into Canada, Toronto, and Quebec, and Montreal, and those cities where we have our citizens and visitors there as well. I say good afternoon to you, or good morning. In some cases, the time zones, there are different time zones spreading all across Canada as well. And up in Europe, of course, we have persons in the United Kingdom, especially in areas such as Leeds and Birmingham and Brampton and those areas. We do have quite a number of citizens who would have moved from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and would have gone there and built a life there, and family members there as well. So I say good afternoon to you there in England, throughout the whole of England, that is. And of course, France, Germany, Denmark, all of those other European countries. And of course, we go into Asia, and most specifically, as I always say, the Republic of China, Taiwan, which is our partner or friend in every way. And I'll say a little bit more about that in a few minutes, but this is just the greetings part of it. So let me just shout up all who are listening to us there, not only listening but viewing there in the Republic of China, Taiwan. It's just about 5 minutes past 1 a.m. on a Saturday morning. So I say good morning to you there. Hope all is well. So we come back to Nevis now. And before I go on, let me say, for those who are not aware, Von Radio has always been on the FM band, but they have done something in recent times that has brought some clarity and some stability and some sweet sounding, music and information that is resonating in a clean and wholesome way. Very clean. I have 2 radios on at the same time at home on the FM band these days. One in my bathroom and one in the kitchen, because I don't want to miss any programming from Von Radio. I don't want to miss the music, and especially at this time of the year when it's Culturama, all of the songs out there, I just want to get a feel of the calypso, So both new and old, and whatever other programmings are emanating from this station. But 93.7 FM, I don't think the management here would chastise me for spending a minute or two to promote the station, because it is the Caribbean's only powerhouse, and it says that on the banner behind me, and a banner on my right, and a banner ahead of me there over in the other studio there. So it's the Caribbean's only powerhouse, and with this FM sound now, which is so much better, yeah? And that is the essence of life, and that is to build on what you have and make it better as you go along. And that is what they've done here at Von Radio, where only the best will do. and 860 AM. You still can get them on the 860 band, AM band, but try the FM band, 93.7 FM. It's really nice, very clear, and it's running all night, 24/7. All day, all night, I should say. I'm picking it up, because listen, over in my neck of the woods, there was a point in time where there was another station cutting in. Sometimes people would say you're cutting in like a Spanish station. There was another station cutting in, and I don't even know where it's from, maybe Antigua or somewhere. But now, Von Radio has a place of its own, and it's clean and clear. And if you want to hear good FM sound, go to 93.7 FM, Von Radio. Sounds really good. Okay, let's move on. Condolences. Let me express profound condolences to all who are in the bereaved column this afternoon. And of course, we know, there are persons out there who are definitely grieving the loss of a loved one. I want to, at this point in time, just speak of one particular person that would have passed away last Saturday morning. And those of us who know Beverly Nisbet, well, he's originally from Brick Hill, but he resided up there at Hamilton. His family roots are from Brick Hill, Stapleton family over there, down Pasha Gate, as we say. And of course, he was a cousin of mine as well too. And of course, he have extended families in St. Kitts and beyond the shores of the Federation as well. But Beverly was a contractor. He was a church goer as well. He was a member of the Seventh-day Adventists, but he was a contractor as a professional person. And of course, he constructed many structures around here on the island of Nevis and abroad as well, because he lived, I believe he may have spent some time in St. Martin, perhaps in the Virgin Islands, but of course he would have lived in the United States for some time as well too, and moved back and forth in the latter years. And of course, many of us were, somewhat shocked, surprised, and it was the news that you didn't expect to hear last Saturday morning. And I know his good friend over there in Barnaby, he has many friends, but his good friend there, Donald Dole Daniel, who has that farm over there in Patworks and have a small retail outlet right there in Barnaby. You'll pass there from time to time and you'll see them there in conference. I call it conference. They're sitting down chatting and perhaps talking about old time days, talking about current issues and so forth. So that was the meeting place for both of them. And I know Donald would certainly feel this one to a large extent, as well as all of his family members, both here in Nevis and St. Kitts, and additionally beyond the shores as well of the Federation. But Beverly would have lived his life, of course, and how much more can you say other than it's a really sad time, to be experiencing such. That being said, we will listen up for when the announcement is made for his homegoing celebration, so we can go and lend some support to the family. So up there in Brick Hill, persons like Varita Stapleton, Bonita Stapleton, Shirley, Shirley Mills or Shirley Stapleton Mills, and of course Shelley Stapleton Stevens, Glenroy Stapleton, all of them up there. Jasper Stapleton, of course, is his brother. How could I skip over Jasper and go down to the younger guys, Jasper is the older of, well, not the older, but the oldest of the brothers who are still alive, I believe. I hope I'm not getting myself into trouble. But Jasper, accept my sympathies, you and the rest of the family. So we'll be there and we'll continue to provide the support that is needed at this difficult time, because our support is needed, but also leaning on God and his understanding and trusting in him is also important at this time as well. And anyone who are currently spending some time, and I say spending some time, but resting for the time being there at the Alexandra Hospital, I say get well, greetings are extended to you. It is just a temporary stop, I believe, and so in time to come I expect to see all of you back out on your feet and making your contribution and living your life as you should. The nurses and doctors and all of the auxiliary workers there will make it their duty to provide you with the best service possible up there at the Alexandra Hospital. And I don't want to single out anyone, but anyone who is there at this point in time paid a visit there last Sunday afternoon and visited a couple of folks who are there. And in most part, they are in good spirits. And I say continue to trust and believe. Yeah. And so we move on from there. And we go on to a little bit more joyous things in that persons are celebrating to them, sure, celebrating an anniversary, celebrating a birthday or some special occasion. I want to say best wishes to you and celebrate in style, as they say sometimes. One such person who is celebrating today is Aisha Douglas from Brick Hill. Aisha is from down the range, you know. Aisha, I think I learned that your birthday is today, so I'm expressing birthday greetings to you and saying to you as well as I normally would say to everyone, go out and enjoy yourself. Have a wonderful time today. And as I always say, if you have $10, spend $5 on yourself. Once you're working, you'll be able to replenish that and put back that $5 where it came from, you know. So I say there should be no limit. Or put a different way, put another way, there should be there should be some celebration with some limitation, not to get yourself into trouble that you can't get out of. Yeah, but celebrate as much as you can for the rest of today and perhaps for the rest of the month as well, because your birthday is a special thing, a special occasion to celebrate. So Aisha, you go ahead and have fun. Enjoy yourself. Of course, yesterday and during the course of this week, some important persons would have celebrated their birthdays, and I say happy belated birthday greetings to you. Romaine Mills would have celebrated, I believe it was Wednesday, along with Rubelet Wilkin, and of course yesterday I believe it was Celestine Grant and Colin Tyrrell. Also on Wednesday was Papa and what's his name, Astro, King Astro. Yeah, so they would have celebrated during the course of this week, and I look at them and it's obvious that they had a good time, you know. It is showing and glowing on them. Yes. So moving right along, tomorrow, of course, my understanding is that theme award, I think I picked up that earlier today, we'll be celebrating tomorrow along with my good friend Daniela Hicks, or Danny. Yeah, Danny from over in Newcastle. She's celebrating, you know. Danny, I can say on the radio, Danny head not so good, you know, so you know she's gonna enjoy herself one way or the other. Yeah. And of course Anthony Zanke Lewis is celebrating tomorrow as well. So those are a couple of persons I have for tomorrow. And then of course on Sunday, Honorable Janelle Nisbet, I believe, is celebrating, based on my understanding, on Sunday, along with my good friend there, Mrs. Michelle Freeman. Michelle Freeman, yes, I was going to say Michelle. What is Michelle's maiden name? Look, I forgot. So accustomed to saying Mrs. Freeman, that's stuck on you now, Michelle. You're celebrating on Sunday, and of course, Madam Legal Advisor Helen Lewis is celebrating as well. Oh, so Zanke, or Mr. and Mrs. Lewis, will be celebrating Saturday and Sunday, so it's a weekend of celebration. Okay, well, that's doubling the pleasure and doubling the measure, yeah? Okay, enjoy yourself, guys. Okay, moving right along. The weather, it's hot outside right now. We have very good weather today, and we've had some good weather this week. And when I say good weather, we had some showers here and there earlier in the week. And of course, the earth is so dry that when you get some showers, whether in the morning early or late in the evening, well, it evaporates quickly. But whatever it is, we appreciate it. I would prefer to see rain or experience rain than to experience high winds. Yeah. So right now we are in the hurricane season. Of course, we have not seen any weather system to create any challenge as such as yet. But we go through the seasons with our fingers crossed, and our hopes and our expectations are that we won't have any hurricane this season. But that is not for us to decide. All I will say is that we should stay prepared rather than to get prepared. Stay prepared, sorry, rather than to get prepared. And it sounds simple, but it is something that we should always keep in the forefront of our minds. that we should stay prepared. So every day you're doing something, to ensure that if there is any adverse weather conditions that come our way, we're in a state of readiness and preparedness. Okay, so we know what the drill is, and we know what we have done over the years. This is nothing new. And so in the United States and other parts of the world where there are different weather systems and conditions, people prepare accordingly for the winter season. They start to stock up on certain things. They make sure they have gas. They make sure that they have the snow plow out and shovels and all that is necessary to clear the driveway and the kind of thing. So we now have to get our hammer and our wood and shutters and everything ready in the event. Yeah? Okay, I think I'll spend enough time on that. As time go by, more will be said, not from these microphones only, but also from the Nevis Disaster Management Authority over there at Long Point. They are normally very, very good at disseminating information. Okay, moving right along quickly. My time is flying fast. Herbert Beach affair. Of course, I said before, and I'll say it again. I'll be here talking about Herbert Beach every week until the date arrives. And Herbert Beach affair will be on Monday, August the 4th. That is August Monday, and that is just after Juve. When Juve is done, all roads lead to Herbert Beach. Yeah? The sun gets hot in Charlestown, the road, the asphalt get hot, and we're saying come to Herbert Beach and take a dive. Dive into the ocean, cool down, and have some food, local food, drinks, and music will be there. So we are setting up, and when I say we are setting up, the preparation has started on paper, and then of course over the next week thereabout we'll move into the next phase of cleaning up and constructing booths, putting up the lights and getting the electricity in order, making sure the water is available to the booths. So we're constructing some booths over there as usual, and of course persons have already called, but I will say here publicly that last year we went to the extent where we had just about I think it's about 13 or 14 booths. That will not happen this year, because last year it was done that way to anticipate what we expected to be a large crowd and large turnout, and it was the case last year. But you see, the more booths you have, I suppose it put added pressure or more pressure on some of the other booth owners. So we are thinking that we'll just have 10 booths this year, and so hopefully some may be disappointed, but it's what it is. I will say though, anyone who wants to come down and use their vehicle and do some vending out of the back of your vehicle, I've never stopped anyone, because it is an event where one and all should make some money. Yeah, and so we're doing the necessary preparations. We have some entertainment lined up already. Collision Band is already confirmed. Not Grandmasters, Small Acts. I believe Grandmasters won't be in the Federation around this time, so they've already apologized for that. They've been a regular staple over there. So Collision Band will be there, Small Acts will be there, DJs will be there, string band music will be there, and of course I did get a call about the motorized bull. I call it a motorized bull. It's plugged up to electricity, and you get on it, and it gives you some motion and some movements, and test your skills as to whether you can stay on that bull. So they have already called and said they're coming, and of course the artisans who were there last year, some of them are coming back to sell their locally produced soap and craft and jewelry and the likes, and pepper sauce and those type of things. Yeah, so there will be an area carved out for the artisans, and they should be there as well. So we're trying our best to bring an activity that is always sought after every year, and an activity that is perennially a part of the Culturama activities. It is the largest event to end the Culturama activities, so to speak, before you get into the parade of troops and bands on the Tuesday. So this is one of the largest events where people are going to gather to have almost like a food fair style event. Yeah, so that is set for the 4th of August, and that's August, Monday. Okay, very good. Let's move right along. Okay, I did mention that I was going to come back to the Republic of China, Taiwan, and why I am raising that. Last evening, we attended this farewell cocktail or farewell get-together for the current and I say current, but he is just about to leave the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Ambassador Michael Lynn. He has been in the Federation for some years, though. I believe he has been around for just about 7.5 years. But as the ambassador, he took up that appointment back in July of 2021. It's normally just about a 3-year appointment, so his tour of duty has come to an end. And of course, I will say that it was, let's say, 3 years or just over 3 years where his impact was certainly felt in education, in healthcare, in agriculture, in recycling, and all areas where the Republic of China, Taiwan will play an integral part in making their presence felt in the Federation and passing on some of the training and knowledge to our people so that we can, better ourselves accordingly. And so there is this unbreakable bond that exists between the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Republic of China, Taiwan, one that has grown in strength over the years. And over the years, we have seen not only small but large benefits have come to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I can think about quite a number of things, of course. Here on the island of Nevis, to be specific, we know of the Malcolm Gishard Park down there and the actual renovation and expansion of the Herbert Beach area. All that was done in partnership with the Republic of China, Taiwan. And I must commend Ambassador Lin for his efforts in ensuring that the necessary finances were put together. And like I said, it was a partnership where there was some input from the Republic of China, Taiwan, and also from the Nevis Island administration as well. And when we go down to that park, the architecture there is representative of what exists in Taiwan, and that is what we wanted. Something to remind us and something that we can always point to as a landmark that was provided to us here on the island of Nevis. Of course, we know of the $5 million that was received from the Republic of China, Taiwan to assist young women or women of all ages, and also male 35 and under who wanted to start a business. Quite a number of our young people have taken advantage of those funds, which were being disseminated, or the monies were flowing through SIDU, that is that small enterprise development unit down there on Chapel Street. And of course, like I said, quite a number of our young people would have taken advantage of those funds. And indeed, that of course ensured that we had persons who were gainfully employed in some profession somewhere, whether in the private or public sector, and then they would have used those finances to start a business, so that would have given them an additional stream of income. And that is how you build capacity in your people and ensure that they continue to grow. And thanks to Ambassador Lin, that was put in place as well. Of course, we can always look at what existed over there at Cades Bay. That is that farm, that demonstration farm that was there for many years. And the NIA, through the Ministry and Department of Agriculture, now manages that farm. But of course, the expertise and the knowledge was passed on so that that farm can continue over there. Of course, in healthcare, I spoke of recycling. That is an initiative that is ongoing, where I believe some containers of recyclable plastic bottles and the likes were already shipped back to Taiwan. And indeed, in healthcare, like I said, and other areas, agriculture, I can speak all day about the exploits we've had through their initiatives in agriculture. So the relationship, like I said, is a good one, a healthy one, and one that we hope to continue to grow from strength to strength. And before I come off of that, let me also say that we would have worked closely with Ambassador Lin in securing that loan from the ICDF there in Taiwan for the expansion of the Van Samre International Airport. Through those funds, or with those funds, we'll see the expansion of the passenger terminal, the construction of a fire hall, and the procurement of 2 brand new fire engines, some upgrade to the control tower, the realignment of the island main road, and of course, yeah, that is what I believe those funds will cover. What else? Yeah, that's just about, the construction of a customs building as well, brand new customs building. So those are the upgrade and new construction that would take place over there at the Van Samre International Airport with the funds that we'll get from the Republic of China, Taiwan, which is just a little over $19 million, 19 point something. I say 19 million just to be certain about that, yeah? So all of these accomplishments were done under the leadership of Ambassador Michael Lin, and I want to thank you, Ambassador Lin, for putting people first in everything you do. You understood the needs of the people of Nevis, and by extension the Federation. But since I'm talking about Nevis, because I cannot actually speak about all of the things that were accomplished in St. Kitts, there have been some accomplishments over there, but I'm speaking specifically about the island of Nevis and what we've been able to accomplish with our partnership with Ambassador Lin. And not only Ambassador Lin, because since I've been around government, I would have seen at least 3 ambassadors prior to Ambassador Lin. I believe back in 2013 it was Ambassador Miguel Sao. He's somewhere stationed somewhere throughout the globe, I believe. And of course George Chu, I believe, came after Miguel Sao, and then there was Tom Lee, who would have come somewhere around 2018, and so Ambassador Lin would have, replaced Ambassador Lee. Yes, okay, good. So that's a little bit of history. So moving right along. So well, best of luck as I move on, Ambassador Lee, and you're going to a new posting there back in Taiwan, I suppose, and whatever you do, you wish all the best. Yes, okay, very good. Now I just spoke about the airport. Maybe I should touch it for a little bit, because we've had these town hall meetings throughout the island of Nevis, a series of town hall meetings that were held by the Concerned Citizens Movement. Started up in St. John's and then went to, did we go to St. James? No, St. Thomas Parish thereafter, then St. James, and then thereafter St. George, and of course last Sunday evening was the culmination down there at the Red Cross building here in Charlestown. And why I bring that up is because a question was asked of the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, as to whether the dance can pay for the lights when we're done with this upgrade up there at the Van Samre International Airport. And I will say publicly that Premier Brantley would have answered in an eloquent way. And the sad thing is that I don't have the clip of that particular response. And I want to commend the Honorable Mark Brantley for his response. And so the response was pretty much to suggest, listen, we are embarking on this particular upgrade, and some may look at it as dollars and cents, profit and loss, yeah, as you would do in the private sector. But this is for a public good. And so we have been saying that our visitors, we go out and spend a lot of money annually on promoting the island of Nevis in all spaces that are available out there on Facebook, all kind of different platforms that are out there, in the US market, in the European market, which are our source markets. We spend a lot of money. In regional markets, we are always promoting the island of Nevis, and we have gone ahead and gone in the most recent times we have gone through influencers and the likes, yeah. So we've been trying our best to promote the island of Nevis. But you know the interesting thing, if you were to sit at your computer in the United States and say, I want to book a flight to Nevis, out of Miami, for example, you would never find that flight. Or if you find it, they might send you around the globe to get to Nevis. And so we are saying that Nevis would need to do what is necessary to get that point-to-point travel and connection for our people who want to come to Nevis, or visitors, or citizens, residents, whomever. And so the upgrade of the Van Samri Airport is a no-brainer. And you know, there have been challenges over the last couple of years in terms of, when I say challenges to the project in terms of people were saying, first and foremost, it won't happen. That was the first thing. They say it's going to be, well, I don't even want to use the colloquial languages that were used here on radio as to what they think about the project. So, in their minds, it would never happen. And then shortly after that, well, the tone changed, the language changed, and also the actions changed, whereby persons were seen up there at the Van Samri International Airport one Friday afternoon, I believe, 6 persons up there with some placards, and I'm going to say 6 persons who were not young persons, because I specifically say that because we are doing what we are doing to set this island up for our young people who are coming after us to benefit from our exploits and our decision-making process in terms of ensuring that the infrastructure is in place, and we are putting some sustainability in the development of the island of Nevis, whereby our young people will have work, our young people will be able to carry on from where we left, and our young people will be able to push this island further than where it is at this point in time. So these older folks who were up there, and like I said, I mean no discourtesies by saying that, but all of them were old anyway. And that is the reality, yeah? All of them were over 60 years old, saying that we don't need any airport. Now, I am saying to everyone out there that when we start talking about an investment and we start to say young people going to be saddled with debts and we're leaving a huge debt behind for young people. Listen, I was younger than what I am now. And I came into this world as a young person, got a job and paid taxes. I'm still paying taxes, and I'm still paying for investments that were made long before I came on this earth. Yeah? I'm still paying. And listen, we must not be inculcating into the minds of our young people that everything is free and everything is cheap. We must be saying to our young people, listen, we have to get up and work and go out and earn us, exert the effort so that you can make an honest day's living, or whatever the saying is. What it is again? Honest day's work for an honest day's pay? Something like that? Okay, yeah. But the point though is that we as leaders in this island must be putting the message out there to our young people that what we are doing now, like the expansion of the Van Samri International Airport, is meant to provide a brighter future for this island. It's meant to provide a brighter and a solid future for our young people. And so we are saying that we are upgrading this airport so that we can get persons from the eastern seaboard of the United States to travel directly to the island of Nevis. I saw something recently, as recent as earlier this week, and I don't like to talk too much about other island and countries, but I saw something earlier where Anguilla now is about to get connections directly from Boston and Baltimore, I believe, those two cities, directly into Anguilla, using a similar type aircraft as we are trying to attract here in Nevis, the Embraer 175. I believe they're trying to attract the Embraer 190 or something like that. Be that as it may, everybody, everyone out there, every island, every country is trying to upgrade the airport. They're trying to build a new airport. They're trying to do whatever to the airport to attract flights. And we know that to connect to an island or to a country, you can either do it by way of ocean or by air. Can't walk or anywhere outside of Nevis to say you're walking going to the United States. Sound real funny and foolish, yes. But it's impossible. But you can fly to Nevis. You can sail to Nevis if you're coming by way of a cruise ship, for example. But we're now concentrating on the airport to get our visitors here, get our citizens to travel back and forth. And so the spin-off effect of that is that our hotels will be receiving more visitors or more business. there will be the opportunity and the environment will be created for additional hotels to be constructed, movement of goods and services, that type of thing. So it's a no-brainer and it's a must. And so you may ask, where are we with this airport? We're very close to getting started, I will say that. Why I say that is because, of course, the land issues would have taken us a bit longer than we would have hoped. And so, as far as I know, and I can say at this point in time, the Premier would have said it, that the funds are available to pay the landowners who would be impacted by the expansion of this airport. And so, I believe in short order, between today and next week, somewhere along the line, shortly, payments should be made to landowners, those who are mostly affected initially, yeah, and then the process would continue until we get to the last person. So with this expansion, Nevis will have its own space in terms of lowering persons directly to the island of Nevis. All of the advertising dollars that we spend annually will see our returns, because currently, if someone is to leave Miami or whatever the case might be, anywhere in the United States, and they're not coming directly to Nevis, they have to go through another country to get here. And if they go through St. Kitts and they leave through St. Kitts, those departure taxes and all of the monies that are spent at the concession stands inside of the airport, whether they buy a lunch or take a snack with them back on the aircraft, whatever the case might be, those monies are going into someone else's economy. But we would have spent the money to promote the island of Nevis. And if we spend the money to promote the island of Nevis, we want the money to stay here. That is how you're going to repay that mortgage for the airport. Because people are going to come, people are going to spend money, businesses are going to pay their taxes, taxes will be collected, taxes collected up there at the airport, people will spend their money on duty-free items and concession stuff up there, and so all of the landing fees, departure, whatever, lighting fees, navigational fees, fuel will be sold, there'll be a fixed base operation up there, whatever is generated through all those areas at the airport will be monies generated to repay the mortgage on that airport. And so I am excited about this project. The whole of Nevis should be excited about this project, because not only are we going to see the spin-off when it's all said and done, but even from the get-go, from the start of that construction, trucks and backhoes and heavy equipment and workers in all areas, skilled workers, laborers, security, all these persons will find work up there during the construction phase, which will last just about 18 to 24 months. Yeah? So, construction is due to start shortly. We're going to get it going. Once it gets going, then all of these areas will see a hub of activities up there. We're saying that multiple things will happen all at once. It's not going to be a phased approach where you say we're going to do something today and then next year or 2 years from now. The plan is to move and move in a big way to ensure that we're bringing the results in a short period of time, between 18 to 24 months, like I said, so that the airport can be up and running and we will be in the ball game with all of the others around us. Nevis have much more to offer than many of these neighboring islands, but they are attracting persons because persons are seeking to get from point A to point B, not from point A to point C and D to get to point B. People want to get there directly, and so we'll be in the ball game, we'll be in on the same playing field with all of our neighbors, and so we expect, you know, the returns to be there. So all of these talk about dance paying for lights, listen, the dance will pay for the lights, yeah, because I know Nevis is a sought after place and the returns will be there. And some may say, oh, have you done the studies? Well, the study pretty much is at this point in time. And when I say the study, the conversation, let's put it that way, has been that, oh, Van Samer International Airport is a dead horse. Yeah? And some will say it needs upgrading. So if that is the conversation, that is where we're heading to. We are trying to resurrect what some claim is dead, and we know it is not as robust and vibrant as it used to be. Not like the days when we used to get that American Eagle out of Puerto Rico into Nevis, almost 4-5 rotations per day. And every time it came and left, it had passengers pretty much almost full every time. Because that was the connection from the U.S. to Nevis. Not the U.S. mainland, but from a U.S. territory, a U.S. port. And so I am confident and I am happy that we have made some progress in recent weeks, because of course we've been at this since 2015. But an airport project is not one that happens overnight. There are certain steps and stages and hurdles that you have to overcome. And so we've had our challenges over the years, especially back in 2020 when we felt we were on our way. We had to put that project on hold because of COVID-19. We have gone beyond that now, and since 2023, January, we've been at it, and we've made significant progress to date. And of course, once we get onto the grounds out there and hit the ground, we'll be running and making sure we bring this project to reality and bring it to a complete within 18 to 24 months, so that the benefits can be derived from this project. Very good project, and very good for the island of Nevis, and there are lots of persons who are anticipating what is to come. Okay, so we leave that. It was not my intention to spend a lot of time on the airport project, but anyway, I did so, and I'm happy to speak about the airport anytime, because like they say, it wasn't supposed to happen, but it's about to happen. Okay, good, let's move on. So I just say the airport, well, we get our criticisms, and of course the opposition criticizes everything that the Concerned Citizens Movement is doing, attempting to do, and that kind of thing. So they criticize everything. I suppose that is politics for them, yeah? But one of the things I keep hearing coming from the NRP is that there's poverty in Nevis. People are poor in Nevis. And it sounds rather, well, for the lack of a better word, it is just disgusting hearing such thing coming from any microphone, whether these microphone or any other platform out there, about poverty in Nevis. Yeah, I look at this thing called poverty and I wonder, well, why are we pushing such agenda in Nevis? I can say to the people of Nevis who are listening to me now, and to those who are abroad and listening to Von Radio at this point in time, I will say to you that Nevis has its lowest unemployment rate ever at this point in time. From what I know, it is below 5%, and I believe it might be just below 4%. I'll get the exact percentage when I come again next time. But I've been doing the analysis and looking at the trends over the years, and up until say around 2023 thereabout, it was just about 5.1%, and it has gone below that since. Because the reason why I can say it has gone below that is because you have persons out there who are working 2 and 3 jobs, and some may look at that as a negative, and I look at it as a positive. Why I say that is because the persons who are working 2 and 3 jobs, they have a mission, and they know exactly why they're working 2 and 3 jobs. And in most cases, a lot of them would have their regular job, and that job would pay all of their bills, or most of their bills. And then they go and work a second job to add to their finances, where they can save some money, send their children to school, buy an item that they have been saving up for example. And of course, some of them have used the additional funds to buy vehicles out of Japan. You hear it's 50 something of them came in over the last couple of days over there. So if, for example, someone is working 1 or 2 jobs or 3 jobs, they have a mission. And why would you want to knock anyone who has a mission and an ambition in this world, and they say they want to work 2 and 3 jobs? I ain't see nobody falling down around here because they're working 2 jobs. I've gone to many business places, and I see some civil servants, I see some persons who are working at other establishments who have gone to a second place to get to hold on to a job to make some money. And so the persons who seem to be critical of those who are working 2 jobs, for example, they ain't even holding down 1. And the job climate here in Nevis is good. There are jobs available in every sector here on the island of Nevis, you know. So these people who are saying, oh, you have persons out there, things are bad and people are working 2 and 3 jobs, but they're sitting down, doing nothing, just talking. And these are the same people who are saying that they want to get into government to provide jobs for people, and they can't even provide one for themselves outside of government. They don't have a business. They're not looking to work. They're adding to the unemployment percentage that we have here in Nevis, the unemployment rate. If some of them couldn't get up and go and work, that number would keep going down, you know. Get up and find some work to do and stop knocking people who are going out there and ambitious, trying to get additional finances and trying to make an additional dollar. Well, who do you think you are? So you just say people work into jobs. Listen, more power to those who work 2 and 3 jobs, yeah? If the jobs are available, and I'll say this to all local people, you know, there are persons out there who would have come from Dominica, from St. Lucia, from Guyana, Trinidad, or wherever, Jamaica, wherever they've come from. You know why they come? We have the lowest, or the highest, sorry, minimum wage here in St. Kitts Nevis, or in CARICOM and the OECS at this point in time. So when they stay out there and they say that we have the highest minimum wage, which is $5.20 per hour, what do you think they'll do? If they're down in Guyana and making $1.50, I'm just coming up with a number, I don't know what it is. If they're somewhere and they're making far less than what is being paid here, what do you think they're going to do? They come in, and when they come and they explore the island of Nevis, right? And they look around and they say, oh, jobs are available in construction, it's booming. And then when I done this job at 2 o'clock with my, whoever the boss is there, I go on to do a little sideline thing down the road here until it gets dark. So that's 2 jobs in one day, multiplying their returns. Some would come and get into the service industry, restaurants and hotels, and based on their schedule, they're gone somewhere else thereafter. Some may get into landscaping, and by the time they're done 10 yards in one day, in the afternoon, they're going to do something else. And they're realizing that the opportunities exist there. And irrespective of what the opposition might say, but I suppose the opposition have a job to do, to create mischief, misinformation and disinformation, and spread as much lies and propaganda. That's what oppositions are all about. That is the NRP, not the CCM. When we were in opposition, we brought wholesome issues to the public. Issues like electoral travesty that took place here in the island of Nevis, taking people's name off the list and so forth. But anyway, I digress. But people who are coming here are taking advantage of the opportunities that are available in Nevis. So our citizens might well be advised to do likewise and take advantage and not listen to those out there who ain't want to work, who ain't got no work to start with, who ain't want to work, and who are added to the unemployment rate here on the island of Nevis. They're lazy. And that's all I can say. They're lazy because work is out there. Some of us wasn't always politicians. Some of us were working in other areas. They used to call me the pool man, but I started a whole pool business. A whole pool business. And if they call you the chicken man or the chicken farmer, don't be offended by that. Money is the same thing on the queen head or whoever head on it. $100, $20, whatever the case might be. Money is money. Go and make your body. They don't like to hear me talk about money, but money flowing in Nevis, yeah? Money flowing in Nevis. I'm not saying it's the easiest place to live, but money is here and money can be made if you're willing to lace up your boots, pull up your pants, or put on your dress and go out and find work. Work is out there. And so when you hear this kind of conversation that doesn't bring any enrichment to your life, I should say to you and all those out there who are listening, just put a blockage on that. Keep your focus and understand there are opportunities out there to take advantage of and go and take advantage of them. So, listen, when you hear about poverty in Nevis, foolishness. Are we struggling? Many of us are struggling, of course, yes. But struggling can come in many shapes and form, you know. You might be struggling, yes, financially. You might be struggling with a personal issue, struggling with something else. But poverty in Nevis? Man, I think people need to come again with this foolishness, man. I know for sure poverty sometimes involves struggle, eh? But not all struggling is poverty. I'll say it again. Poverty sometimes involve struggles and struggling, but not all struggles can be considered poverty. Yeah? So, we are on the right track on this island. We're going to continue to grow leaves together as a people, and as a community, we'll make sure that this island continue to prosper as much as possible. Yeah? Okay, so I just spoke about the minimum wage, the highest in the OECS and CARICOM. It was just increased from $4.50 per hour to $5.20, a maximum of $5.20 per hour as of, well, we were in Parliament back on the 10th of July. Yeah? So, as it is now, you go as a weekly, let me start as a weekly wage earner, $520 will be your wage at the end of the week. If you're a monthly paid worker, of course that would be, I believe, 27,000. No, let's back up. Let me go with annual. Make it easy. Let's keep it simple. If you're a monthly paid worker, then at the end of the year you're looking at $27,040 thereabout. Be that as it may, you'll do your maths and you'll know exactly what it is when it's all said and done. But what happened with this increase? This increase ensures that, of course, you have more spending power to purchase items, to pay your bills, save a little, and of course should lead to an improved standard of living, I would think. But we had this debate in the Parliament there in St. Kitts on the 10th of July. And of course, I've always said that there are diverse opinions to everything that is presented in Parliament or even in any walk of life. Yeah? So we had a difference of opinion. Not that we are against the increase. The increase did happen, and I am happy for all those minimum wage earners out there. I am happy for all of you. But one of the recommendations that was made, or some of the suggestions that were put forward, is that perhaps it might have been wise on the part of the government with this increase to maintain the VAT at 13%. It was lowered from January to the 1st of or the 30th of June from 17% to 13%. I believe that some analysis should have been done to see what that impact was, along coupled with this increase, and see what the net result could be or should be in terms of letting it run, or let that reduction in the VAT run for the next 3 months or next 6 months, whatever the case might be, along with this increase in the minimum wage. Indeed, that would have given our minimum wage earners much more spending power, of course. That is one option. Another option would have been to perhaps maintain the 250, which is the budget boost wallet, I believe it, BBW, whatever they call it. That as well, coupled with the increase, is another way of looking at it and giving persons a little bit more spending power. But those two initiatives were removed, and then the increase was given. $50 increase thereabout. Call it $50 increase. But you see, you give that increase of $50, but you take away these two initiatives, so it therefore means that whatever increase you get, it's almost like it's going to be taken back with the increase in VAT, back to 17%. And that was the argument being made. And I believe that sometimes when we come up with these initiatives, yes, they look good and it sounds good politically to say we are the ones, and you beat your chest and you say we are the ones and we are the party who would have done it. But the analysis could have been a bit different, and the net result could be different if one were to look at it in a similar fashion that I just put it over, whereby, and I repeat again, whereby you give the increase to the minimum wage earner, and then you maintain that 13% VAT. You give some breathing space there, of course, and for argument's sake, you also maintain the BBW as well too. If you can do all three at the same time, of course. But if you can do two, then that's fine as well too. But I don't think the analysis was done on that, and I don't think the wisdom was there behind the whole overall impact that this could have had if it was done that way. Because here's what has happened, is going to happen. You give that increase, the increase is going to come from the bottom line of the business place, whatever it is. Some of these large supermarkets that are around here would have sometimes 20 or more minimum wage earners. If you have at least 20 minimum wage earners, then it therefore means that at the end of the year, without going into all of the addition and subtraction, at the end of the year, that company will have to fork out at least $53,000 to cover those the increase and those 20 workers, meaning an additional $1,000 per week for those 20 workers, because you're looking at the increase times 20. And I can do some quick, where's my pen? Let me do some quick. So if you say, well, 20 persons got a $50 increase, that's an additional $1,000, sorry, $1,000 per week. Then that would be an additional $30 added to that as the 3% housing and development levy, because that is to be paid by the business or by the company, not the worker. That is to be paid. So that's an additional $30 as well, yeah? Now, in my math, the increase in the wage bill will be $52,000. The amount to be paid as the housing and development levy will be about $1,560 for a total of $53,560. That is what the business has to pay. So if the business have to pay out that amount of money, where would the money come from? No business will take up $53,000 out of their profit and just pay it into pay to their workers and pay it into Social Security without trying to recoup that amount of money. So where it's going to come from? Ultimately, it's going to be seen in an increase in the prices on the shelf. And that's why I say some wisdom should have been there behind this rolling out of this increase, even though it was committed to as of the 1st of July. That increase could have been cushioned, like I said, with that 13% VAT or maintaining the BBW, the budget boost wallet, whatever it's called. And sometimes you look at these, it's like you're giving that increase, but it's still being taken back. So you're giving and taken back, and who knows how much will be taken back? More than the $50, of course, in some cases, because the business is going to tell you, listen, I had this increase on my bottom line, or this deduction from my bottom line, but also I had an increase in prices from my source in the US where I order, and that increase is passed on. Fuel goes up tomorrow, cost of transportation goes up, that is passed on to the same consumer. Same person who had a $50 increase will have to pay all that. And so we have to be careful, and we have to balance these things and understand that there is a rippling effect to some of these decisions. And like I said, do not get me wrong, I support our most vulnerable getting this increase, but we have to couple that with other things that would make the increase worth the while, and that they'll be able to manage as a result. And so it's already done, but we had what I think was a robust debate. Ultimately, the increase was passed on, but there will be some impact, and we just have to prepare ourselves accordingly. But it is what it is, yeah? Okay, well, listen, I had many more things to touch here, but we'll leave those items for another time. But I believe we are almost out of time. It's just 1:59. Yes, let me go into the wrap-up phase and say, oh, I forgot to mention earlier that my church over there at St. James Anglican Church is having their barbecue next Friday afternoon from about 1 o'clock, I believe, or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but it goes down until late in the afternoon. When you're done with your work and so forth and you're driving past, stop by next Friday afternoon and patronize the church as we try to raise some funds over there. And of course, I did mention about Herbert Beach and everything that is happening for Culturama. Go out and enjoy. Yeah, Culturama is in the air. There's a buzz. When there's a buzz, you go and enjoy yourself. Yeah, and be safe about it. And like I always say when I leave, if you go to church on a Saturday, go and serve your God. You go to church on a Sunday, do likewise. And of course, pray for this station, pray for me, pray for the workers here, pray for everything, pray for the island of Nevis and the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Pray for God's blessings. May God continue to guide and protect us all, and do have a wonderful weekend. May God bless us. Goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
You're listening to Vaughn Radio from the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. With all the power from the tower, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, VON Radio, from the Federation of